Hi, it's Julie from Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching here with the latest video version of my latest blog that I'm about ready to post. So I want to talk all about healing ancient wounds because Chiron is going retrograde. Oh, let me rephrase that. Chiron has gone retrograde in the last few days. Today is July 23rd. So Chiron went retrograde on July 19th. And so a lot of people have been talking about this sensation of really digging deep and healing ancient wounds. And Chiron is all about the wounded healer, looking into the things that you came into this world with as pain, wounds, hypersensitivity, areas in your life where you notice these things coming up, or you may not notice them right away, and then eventually they will show themselves. So if you've been noticing a feeling of heavy energy, accompanied by the need for intense self-reflection, this is a common thread. People are talking about, how they're noticing an increase of this and noticing an increase of absorbing energies of those around them, whether the others be family, friends, or the greater collective. And that in turn is triggering some very deep-seated wounds, pain, and then the desire to explore why all this is happening. So again, the retrograde Chiron is triggering a lot of this. And if you want to know a little bit more about this wounded healer centaur, I did write a blog about this in the past called How the Wounded Becomes the Healed. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. So Chiron right now is hanging out in Pisces, and Pisces is the deep waters of the soul, the flow and surrender to what is, connection to the divine higher realms, and it's also the waters of escapism and addiction when you don't want to face all the deep stuff. So Chiron hanging out in Pisces really triggers this hypersensitivity to energies in any way, shape, or form. And more specifically, it can feel like a breach of your own personal energetic boundaries as we take in all of the discord around us. And if you go to the visual version of this blog, you'll see some sample charts in there of transits as well as birth chart placements of Chiron. So throw a handshake in with the moon on July 19th as Chiron was stationing to go retrograde. And we have all the ingredients there for the emotional brew. And by the way, retrograde is the sensation that the planet's momentum is slowing down. It's not literally moving backwards, but it's that idea of when you pull forward faster and faster and something pulls away from you, it feels like it's going backwards. So that slows the momentum of the energy of the specific celestial body. So the meeting of the moon and Chiron had us really feeling this bit of upheaval as we were noticing these long-held patterns of hurt that we had not taken the time to acknowledge and reconcile. It may also feel like you've been cast adrift with no connection to something greater than yourself. And, with all this swirling emotional confusion, it's rooted in pain. Rather than deal with it, Pisces may also have you ignoring it through addictive escape, like I mentioned earlier. You'll do anything not to look at this deep-seated pain or trauma to eventually resolve it. Things like alcohol, drugs, mindless cyber surfing, anything to just ignore it and make it go away. And when you do that, you let it fester and you start getting cranky. Your body starts to ache. You may notice sleeplessness, restlessness, or you might just downright zone out. But we all know that if you ignore these things, you ignore what hurts, it doesn't go away. It's still there. It may subside a little bit, especially if you're hanging out in the ethers of go away, not today. But it will be a drumbeat in your mind, body, and spirit until you open that door, say hello to it, and have the conversation to address it where it no longer owns you. And yeah, it's going to hurt. But, as it says, you rip off the Band-Aid, you let the wound heal. So again, the retrograde Chiron allows for this introspective, reflective period because the slowing down of this forward momentum of Chiron gives the ability to do that internal deep dive, figure out how to look at all of this, assess it from that higher self perspective, Pisces, and be ready to move onward in the healing process when Chiron does pick up steam again in his forward journey in about 6 months. So what this can do for you is if you look at what your placements are of Chiron in your own chart, it helps you to understand a little bit better how it'll play out for you. Now, the transiting Chiron is at the collective level, But he also moves to activate these energies and characteristics in your chart as different things are triggered. The transiting Chiron exhibits the wounds of the collective, which in turn creates a personal response to the placement and aspects of Chiron in a birth chart. And again, there are examples of this in the visual blog. So just what does one do with all of this discordance, this energy? Well, the first thing to do is work with the retrograde slowing of Chiron, as I just mentioned previously. Slow down. Heed the prompt to go within. Do some deep soul searching. Find out what your inner voice can tell you what hurts and why it hurts, where it's coming from. Think about being that nurturing parent, asking the little one how he or she can be comforted. That's the work. The little one knows and isn't afraid to tell you if you'll just stop and listen. And this dialogue can result in some big stuff that needs to be addressed. Long-held traumas, profoundly held beliefs that are self-destructive, self-deprecating, suppressed memories of hurts inflicted by loved ones, a personal power gone dormant out of the fear of reprisal or even ridicule. Again, depending on the placement in your chart. If you find yourself unearthing such incredibly intense discoveries, it might be time to consider a conversation with a skilled sidereal astrologist, wellness coach, energy healer, and I'm such, all of those. And those of us in this work, we can help you understand, again, what is in your chart, what it has in store for you, and how the transiting planet events can affect you and what to do with all you learn. So when you have this level of cognizance and understanding in your chart and how things manifest for you, the opportunity to work with harmony and in harmony with what's going on is that much greater. You're less likely to be blindsided by the combustible forces and be able to anticipate and move in flow with what's coming. So the key to Chiron is it's a three-step process. First, you want to understand his placement in your chart, his imprint of that rejection, pain, abandonment, hypersensitivity. It plays out for all of us, but in different ways, depending on his home in your own chart. And once you have a grasp of how this manifests for you, then you can start to move into transcending the painful effects to where they no longer control you. You begin to move from the wounded to the wounded healer. And this is the phase where you have the knowledge, yet you still identify with that wound itself, such as I am hypersensitive and worried about what others think when I try to communicate with them. Or I'm a dyslexic learner, so I struggle with gathering information. Notice the I am statements there. This is a Chiron placement in the third house and or Gemini, as an example. And this person with this kind of placement identifies with an overreaction to how others perceive him or her in this area. So again, that's the wounded healer. I am the person who. And as you begin to move into the transcendence of the wound, that third phase, and then beyond personally identifying with this, think working with a solution-focused wellness coach here, then you can truly see yourself as the healed wounded. You have space to see in others what you have struggled with and can lend a level of compassion to those people as one who has been there. This is the complete transmutation of it. But there is a word of caution here. This is a continual process. Remember, change is not linear, it's spiral, it's infinite. You may be on the other side of it, transcending that wound, then bam, something comes along to trigger this in you all over again. Remember the transits, they're moving energy. However, each time it comes, the more you understand and know how Sir Chiron plays in your playground, then the more adept you are at moving through to that metamorphosis from that pain inflicted. So I hope this gives you some insights on how Chiron may work in your world. And if you'd like to explore how he shows up for you, contact me, Julie, at Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching. Go to my services page. There's all sorts of information there about wellness coaching from the solution-focused perspective. If you have a group of people that you want to work with, I'm happy to do that. All different ways to work with your sidereal astrology. I even do Pleiadian Earth energy astrology with Venus phase understandings and input. And I am also a Master Usui Reiki practitioner, so I can help you move some of that energy that might be stuck in you. So I'd really love to be a part of your journey of discovery and empowerment as we look at it through the eyes of your chart. So feel free to give me a call, post a message to me, sign up for a 15-minute complimentary consultation. We'll see how we can do this work together.